Hello everybody, Steffi here from The Makers, and if you have got our Advent Calendar 2024, then I welcome you to day 15, where you will find this in your calendar. So you get one of my favorite wools, which is the Portuguese Merino, such a lovely, chocolatey, beautiful, bouncy color. To me, it just already looks like it needed to be needle felted into some chocolate cake or anything foodie. Then you get this beautiful Cape Merino, very soft, short fiber, perfect for a snowy cover, or why not going for some runny cream. You probably get the gist here already. You also get a really pretty little, it's very hard to tell probably here on the camera, but you get a very pretty sparkly red thread. You get not that many beads, you only get 4 red beads. And you also get some of these little cutout holly leaves, very sparkly, really pretty holly leaves, and you get some earring fittings. Now, the earring fittings are optional if you want to use them. You might have other ideas for this project, but what all of this makes, and this is what you want to know, you can make yourself some festive earrings. And I mean, come on, how cute are these? They're just the best. This will be an absolute party attention focus. So if you wear them at your Christmas party or on Christmas Day or anything like this, I think you will definitely get nice compliments about these. But they can also be just Christmas tree decorations. They're just super cute. And these little accessories that have nothing to do with needle felting, finish them off perfectly. Such a beautiful little addition to the woolly make. And I show you how to make them. So first of all, put your thread to one side, and then obviously split everything in two, so that you have we're starting with one, that you have one. Oh, they're rolling away, these beads. So just pop them inside the earring fitting there. One leaf, let's start with one, and you need to split your white wool in half. You have plenty, so you probably got some left over, but let's split everything into exactly half, or as half as you can manage, and then we start. So you will need a felting mat. I've got it here. You will also need a needle that fits the beads, so maybe test it before you sit down and start crafting. It's quite a big hole, so it should fit through, and and it also needs to be long enough to fit the whole length of your Christmas pudding that you are having to push it through. You need a felting needle, ideally a medium needle. A coarse needle is probably too thick for this really, really very short fibered soft wool. So I'm starting by winding my little bit of brown wool into a soft ball shape. Now, with the Portuguese Merino, you sometimes come across some vegetable matter, so you just have to pull that out. It's basically just dried up grass, and a sign that our sheep have been happily running around in the fields, and probably still are. And you never quite get a perfect ball shape, but do your best, and then just close it up by stabbing into the wispy fibers, so that you've got a little brown sausage on your felting mat now. Now, as with all the projects, we always, as I always say, you stab into the wool, and where you stab is where the reduction takes place. So if you're new to needle felting, this is actually quite a nice project. It's quite small, so mind your fingers. Always stab towards the mat, don't stab towards your fingers. Only hold onto the project to keep it in place, but the needle does not go anywhere near your hand that holds it, and go in and out in a straight line. And you now stab the areas that you want to shrink down. Now, don't stab too deep, keep it quite superficial, because you want to make a nice even ball shape, so you don't want to distort the shape too much. Little light stabs. I always say, imagine your hand is like a little sewing machine needle going up and down in a straight line, and just move your shape on the mat to suit your hand rather than move your hand to suit the shape. So keep the needle in one place. It is literally, imagine it was a sewing machine needle. You wouldn't move your sewing machine around your fabric piece. You move your fabric piece to go through the machine. And as you're felting away, you will find that the wool gets actually quite firm. Using a short fiber like the Portuguese merino, you never quite get a very solid wool shape. There's always a bit of bounce in it because the fibers just don't grip deep enough into each other to make it absolutely rock solid. But you don't necessarily want a completely solid shape, and also it's better to have a little bit of less wool so that you've got less weight on your earring. If you're turning this into an earring, then having a really solid shape with lots of wool and makes it quite heavy. So I'm quite happy with this shape now. Give it a little roll between your fingers and you should have a perfect little brown ball now. And now we're going to add bits of white to make the sort of the cream, the runny cream topping comes down on top of the pudding. Now you want to make sure that you don't put the wool down so it melts into the brown. You want it to be quite separate. So you can already shape the edge a little. So fold the wool under a bit and then stab it on at the top. And then when you get near the edge, let's get the top stab down. You want to stab into the space between the white wool and the brown wool. And don't worry if it's not a very neat line, because with cream you want to have the little drips and drops that are going further down and higher up. The main thing I will say is work in small batches. Don't put all of the white on there already, because you want to make sure that you get this edge really nice and crisp so that it is very distinct from the brown. You don't want it to look like this, where it's literally becomes part of the brown. You want it to be nice and separate. So work your way around your pudding and then work in small batches. So add a little bit more wool if you need to go further around the pudding. You can have also one end that runs down a bit further. It doesn't have to be very symmetrical at all. You can have bits that are running down further one side than the other. And felt that down. Now this Cape Merino is even a shorter fiber than the Portuguese Merino, so definitely not a coarse needle. You might even consider going to a fine needle. Sometimes when you add things to a shape, you have to felt into the shape itself again, so you might end up having to stab into the brown wool just to even it out, because you're sort of slightly distorting the nice round pudding shape. So that's just what needle felting does. You never quite finish on one part entirely. You keep sort of coming back on it and going over it again. So get the nice creamy top felted down, and that's all the needle felting you're doing, to be honest. So make sure it's a nice even cover. Check your pudding all the way around, that you're happy with all of the cover of the cream on top. And then it's just a question now of sewing the bits onto it. Now there are different ways of doing it. You might find your own way. I'll show you how I am doing it. So I'm going to thread my needle with this sparkly thread. Remember, you might have to also split this in half. However, I'm actually using a more generous piece here, but I show you I explain different ways. So if you are getting this into the pudding, the easiest way is to work with a single thread, but you can also put a knot at the end. So that will just give it a little bit of extra fastening into the ball. Not easy to put a knot on a tiny little... Have I done it? No. Okay, try again. You probably can't even see this very well. No, still not. Sorry, it's taking longer than making the bauble. This time I've got it. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to take my sparkly thread. I'm actually going in from the base first all the way up to the top, and I'm going to do one whole the knot has done absolutely nothing. I'm going all the way in again, turn round, and then one more time. So that should have fastened the thread into your bauble. And then the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my holly leaf and I'm going to sew it onto the top. So I've got to just put the needle into the center and pop it on top like this. Then I'm going to take my first bead. Oops. I'm going to go back into the pudding now, again through the leaf, and this time I'm catching my little bead on top of it, and I've got to go back out again. You can can go through the leaf or this time around it, and then I'm going to pop my second bead on there. Ooh. And I'll repeat the process. I go round and out through it again, so I have to come back up to the top again. Now this is how far you could go, and you could just tie it off and have it as a Christmas tree decoration. However, if you wanted to fasten your earring onto it, what I found the easiest is to actually also go through the earring hoop, and this time to save some thread, instead of going all the way through the pudding, just go to the top of the pudding and do a couple of stitches to get your hoop fastened in. Where's it gone? Just make sure it's actually in the hoop and not in the rest of the earring. Oh dear, I got that all the wrong way. Right, I think I might have to do that again. It's quite a fiddly part of it, I will be honest. Is that it now? Nearly. No, it's got caught on the fastening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up and start again. Oh no, it's okay now, it's in there, right. So you basically want to sew the earring fitting onto the top of the pudding. That's what I'm trying to do. Right, one more time. And don't do it too tight, because you want a little bit of dangly space for the earring to dangle. And that's the last one I'm doing. Here we go. And there's your earring. And then to fasten on the thread, if you've got enough left, you can go in again and out again as many times as you can before you cut your thread. And that's basically how you have made your little Christmas pudding earring. And then obviously repeat it on the other one. And you have an amazing set of earrings to show off. They make lovely gifts as well. If you don't want to make earrings, then just use it as a hanging decoration. And if you have got jewellery fittings, you might even be able to do this in a more professional way. But this will be absolutely fine for an occasional earring, especially at a Christmas party or anything similar. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you so much for supporting the makers and buying our advent calendar. And if you're watching this any other time, you're welcome. See you again soon. Bye bye.